Humans are, as far as we know, the only intelligent creatures in the universe. Why humans? What makes humans so special? The answers lie in the past of humanity. To find the answer, we must go back in human evolution. If we go back 65 million years, we can encounter a newly formed group of primates belonging to the class of mammals, which is part of the vertebrate class of the animal kingdom. Over the course of millions of years, this group has branched out into different families, genera, and species, like branches on a tree. About 59 million years ago, one of them gave birth to two female primates. One became the ancestor of all chimpanzees, and the other became our great-grandmother, and we parted ways. The word human does not only refer to modern humans, Homo sapiens. Research shows that even 100,000 years ago, there were at least 6 different species of humans in the world. If we traveled back 2 million years, life before humanity ruled the world. We are in East Africa. The landscape is surprisingly familiar. Children play in the mud. Mothers watch with excitement. Elders want peace and quiet. Young individuals challenge social norms. These early humans fall in love, form close friendships, and compete for power and status. But none of this was unique. Chimpanzees, baboons, and even elephants do the same things today. Back then, humans were nothing special. No one could have imagined that their descendants would one day go into space, split atoms, decode DNA, or write books. Prehistoric humans were just ordinary animals, no smarter than gorillas, fireflies, or jellyfish. So what changed? How did one species of man survive while all others disappeared? How did Homo sapiens become the ruler of the planet? We will answer this question later. First, let's examine how the human species evolved. Sephirotes, the birth of the human species. Humans first evolved from a primate species called Australopithecus in East Africa about 2.5 million years ago. About 2 million years ago. Some of these early humans left their homelands and migrated to North Africa, Europe, and Asia. Living in the icy forest of Europe required very different characteristics than living in the humid jungles of Indonesia. As a result, human populations evolved in different directions. This led to the emergence of many different species of humans, each of which has been given a grand Latin name by scientists. In Europe and Western Asia, humans evolved into Neanderthals, Homo neanderthalensis. Stronger and more muscular than modern humans, perfectly adapted to the conditions of the Ice Age. In East Asia, Homo erectus, upright man, dominated. This species lived for about 2 million years, which is a record among humans. On the island of Java, Homo soloensis, which was adapted to tropical life, lived. On the island of Flores, isolated populations, due to limited resources, dwindled over generations to Homo floresiensis, only 1 meter tall, and 25 kilograms in weight, but capable of making tools and even hunting dwarf elephants. Years later, in 2010, a group of scientists discovered a fossilized finger bone in the Denisova cave in Siberia. Genetic analysis revealed a completely new human species, Homo denisova. I wonder how many more of our ancestors are hidden in the many caves, islands, and forgotten lands. Humans evolved in Europe, Asia, and East Africa. Homo habilis, Homo ergaster, and finally Homo sapiens. All existed at the same time. Some were giants, some were small. Some were fierce hunters, others were peaceful gatherers. Some lived in small groups, while others crossed continents. A common misconception is that human evolution followed a straight line. It didn't, and there were more than one species living on Earth at the same time. How do we know all this? Nothing is complete. but many parts are well supported by evidence. Anthropologists rely on fossils, radiometric dating, genetic analysis. In 1963, researcher Morris Goodman Key Wars compared proteins from humans, chimpanzees, gorillas, and orangutans to prove that humans are genetically closest to African apes. Today, DNA analysis shows that we and chimpanzees share about 98.7% of our genetic code. Australopithecus, upright man. This species lived in eastern and southern Africa between 4.5 and 1 million years ago. They had small brains and large teeth. Unlike other species, they were able to walk on 2 legs. Australopithecus lived near water, hunted small animals, and ate raw food. They still slept in trees for protection. So how did our brains begin to develop? Homo habilis, the first toolmakers. About 1.8 million years ago, Homo habilis appeared in East Africa. They had larger brains, thinner skulls, reduced jaw muscles, and human-like feet. They had early Broca's and Wernicke's areas in their brains, indicating basic speech abilities. This advanced brain helped them create tools that would make their lives easier. They could now use these tools to chop meat, scrape skin, and break bones for marrow. Most importantly, they not only passed on knowledge to the next generation, but this change in their brains was reflected in the DNA of the next generations. Civilization was beginning. Homo erectus, fire masters. Homo erectus emerged about 1.9 million years ago and lived for 117,000 years. They had larger brains, greater endurance, and most importantly, modern body proportions. They spread across Africa, Europe, the Middle East, Asia, and even Indonesia. They didn't just make tools, they also made tools to make these tools. Their biggest difference was that they were one of the first human species to use fire in a controlled manner for cooking, warming themselves, and protecting themselves. Cooking food over fire improved their digestion. As their jaws became smaller and digestion became easier, more energy went to the brain. People gathered around the fire talking, sharing stories, singing, dancing, and communicating with each other. Our final existence. Homo sapiens, about 250,000 to 300,000 years ago. Homo erectus gradually faded away as Homo sapiens emerged. The transition was smooth. It was quite difficult to distinguish early sapiens from late erectus, but sapiens had its own characteristics: superior communication, advanced tools, complex social networks, strong imagination. This species of humans eventually survived because it adapted to all the conditions of nature. The beginning of everything. The search for food sources, the development of tools for a better life, the identification of effective weapons and strategies for efficient hunting, and unfavorable climatic conditions. The endless struggle for survival allowed new human societies to spread throughout the world. The process of natural selection favored the most capable, adaptable, cunning, hardy, and intelligent human species, with the most advanced communication systems. Thus, the way was opened for Homo sapiens, who would declare themselves masters of the world. It was the beginning of a revolution. Religions, cultures, and nations were mixed together in this mix. The beginning of a journey full of civilizations, empires, and myths. The beginning of the unimaginable adventure of a species that would wipe out the Neanderthals and tens of thousands of other life forms.